This is Jason Reed Pratt, author of Cry of Justice. Have you ever been stuck in a corner with Slavic Nazi fanboys and wished you could abandon at least a quarter of them on the other side of a river while stashing the rest of them on guard somewhere out of the way where they won't cause any trouble? Me too! Fortunately, I am now at the halfway point of my multiplayer game with Barthheart of Decisive Campaigns, the Blitzkrieg from Warsaw to Paris, designed by VR Design and published by Matrix and/or Slitherine Games, and by halfway point I mean halfway into our first operation, the Polish defense against the Nazi invasion, because I still doubt I'm going to win this operation and advance on toward Paris thanks to Barth's better management of the heroic Polish defense. Me too. Turn 7, September 13th, 1939. I'm guessing that's the end of the 206th Infantry Reserve Division from Brand's group, except for the brigade I managed to save and reassign to Vodrick's Corps instead, which is also in trouble. Things in East Prussia could be a lot better under the rain-weeping skies, but we'll get to that eventually. Having already played my turn, we'll start the after-action report as usual now in the southeast sector, where the aforementioned Slavic Nazi fanboys have not advanced a lick toward those far southeastern red cities, which, halfway through the game, is disturbing. Barth has pulled back from the river guard at least, but part of my 2nd Panzer Division remains trapped behind the river, unable to cross back and get supplies. I honestly made a mistake sending my lone engineering company northward between the rivers rather than eastward to repair the bridge here, but maybe I can split the difference over the next couple of turns and repair the bridge at, Deska, or whatever that town is up there, where most of the 2nd Panzer is currently camped and blocking the name of the town. Otherwise, my strategy here for now is twofold. Push north with the 2nd and 4th Panzer Divisions to look for ways to help cut off Krakow, while the Slavic SS Army and the Infantry Division of the 18th Corps guard the bridges from Barth trying to snap our supply again from behind. Moving left to the western side of the southern front, again, no great forward movement, but supply has been mostly re-established, and the corps here are slowly angling up behind Krakow. Barth's Sakopane Blitz Infantry has been stopped down south, but I need more troops to route them out safely, which will take a few more turns, so I'm sending some expendables down there for revenge. The engineers are working to gather up enough engineering points to rebuild the bridges, and supply will be ungainly down south until then. Frankly, I still need to clear a spot of road in between my 2 main southern lobes as well, to help the southeast corner resupply better. North of Krakow, at the southern end of my western front, I'm holding them in place with 1 division while trying to probe across the river up here, but without a secure road network, these divisions are running out of supply, especially with their headquarters having sped off to help clear the road from Barth's counter-blitzers, so I've pulled them back somewhat to protect against Barth surging troops behind them to cut them off even more from supply. This could be a small problem, but my southeastern Panzer Divisions should find a way to snip off the final bits of road network leading into the Krakow pocket, and once that happens, the defenders will be doomed. I'll be interested to see whether Barth cedes Krakow on his turn and tries to flee for the neck of the pocket, or whether he thinks keeping them there will roadblock me better. Either theory has merits. Barth's brave counter-blitzers have now been routed, so over the next few turns I'll be returning those fast movers back to the southern west front area, especially that motorized headquarters to help its divisions north of the city. Altogether, my southern sector has taken a healthy leap forward. Would that my northern sector could say the same, but we'll get to that eventually. Moving northward to my central western front, you may recall now that I ran my 4th Panzer Division into Barth's blocking backfield last turn. This naturally triggered Barth's desperate scramble of a retreat, which looks like it might succeed since I couldn't quite spread out 4th Panzer enough to bottle them up against the low mountains. Barth did succeed in cutting the 4th off from their own supply for a turn, and some of his pocketed troops might succeed at that again, but overall we've got them on the run here. Moving up a little more north, to the southern approaches to Lotz, I've been trying to consolidate some spread out corps here, but as you can see the 14th Corps has divisional pieces scattered over a good 100 miles or more. and I doubt I'll be pulling them together much soon. I do think I can and should go ahead and move that headquarter westward to a road junction across the river on the same side as his units. I'm a little bit worried about Barth searching this group south to snip a road line behind my 13th Motorized Division, which is currently preparing to hit that city and its defenders. But if he does, I'll get behind them soon enough and they'll be pocketed. More worrisome is this line of troops he has collapsed together south of Lotz. Bulling through them won't be altogether easy, but I'll have to start that next turn because I don't have a good supply line for trying a flank north of the city. Plus, in any case, he has a wing of defenders northeast ready to fall upon anyone trying to get around behind Lotz. Although my air recon, despite the rain, does confirm Barth does not have any troops protecting Lotz behind him to the north. It doesn't help me that the local bridges are all still down, hampering local supply, and my 2 engineering regiments are having trouble accruing enough points to repair them in a timely fashion. In fact, I'm going to take this artillery battery back over the river onto the road near its divisional friends while I still have a chance. Next turn, maybe we can try something against Barth's northern stack there. I think he has just spread out the brigades of his 25th Infantry. Zooming out to maximum for context, here's Warsaw. Considering I've got half a campaign to go, maybe things aren't too bad. But you can also see already that cracking Barth's defenses may get more difficult as the game progresses. Doom scrolling north again. Well, this looks like the same thing, a motorized division stretched out in a line to cut off a pocket. But this one is working better so far. Here, Oberkommand's little Kampfgruppe has joined forces with the northwestern sector and should clear them out over the next few turns. And the Guest Division continues its slow clearing of the supply road south of Kosakin. I'm a bit concerned that Barth will realize I'll have only got a couple of green shoots guarding the river south of him, one of which is even on the wrong side of it, and try to push for an escape that way. But if he does, no big deal I guess. He'll run out of gas faster and I can just leave him behind. Mainly I want that road along the river to remain clear, but I can live without it. 10th Corps is working on Kutno, not a major city, but an important road hub on the way to Warsaw, and generally probing around. Guderian's famous 19th Corps, however, is sweeping southeast on either side of the Drek River, or preparing to. His 20th Division is linking up with the western side of my northern front in East Prussia to try a swing cut south behind the Maloa forts. I have a little hope that I can cut off Barth's major offensive in East Prussia this way, with my 21st Corps acting as the block to keep Barth from retreating too quickly back southward. Scrolling back down a bit, you can see that this path also leads to Warsaw eventually, and air scouting suggests Barth doesn't have many defenders around the north of that city, because he surged a lot of them far north into his East Prussia counterpush, of course. What we'll be able to do about that, I'm not sure, but certainly there are a ton of bridges to rebuild in order to keep the supply up to speed. More bridges than I've got engineers to help with currently. That brings us up into East Prussia, where Vodrig's Corps is slowly pulling back along their supply road, while not even striking back anymore against Barth's mighty Polish push here. I've even redeployed part of the Mloa blockers to try to keep Barth's push better contained. I figure if Barth tries to surge north out of the forts now, he's just going to get pocketed better by my 21st Corps with support from Guderian, so I feel pretty safe about that. More likely, he'll see the threat and start pulling troops back, starting with the Maloa garrisons. I can't say things are altogether better up here. Barth nicked off another brigade from the 206th Reserve Division, as his message suggested, but that's likely the last he'll succeed at. Brand's group, which is only the Lotson Division by now, can pull back with help from the Königsberg garrison, which I should attach over to Brand's command, or maybe the 3rd Army, in case they're under control of Army Group North, or worse, the Oberkommand headquarters. They'll be able to block at the lakes against any farther push, and meanwhile I'll be cutting Barth's supply here. He should probably try running back for defense around Warsaw if he can, but he might be a little too late to try. Or he might decide that having his Polish counteroffensive wither up here serves better as a block in the long run. Last, and really quite least, I've rescued my armored trains guarding Elbing, and we should be able to tap out that infantry Barth ran up as an opportunity strike early in the game. And Gdynia, up past Danzig, isn't likely to hold out more than 2 more turns against the forces I'm bringing up around it. The train system is finally working here. evidently because OKH now has an uninterrupted rail line reach into the area. So once these fall, I can start warping my crew down the rail lines farther south to assist various defenses or thrusts. Matters are not entirely rosy here at the operations halfway point, and East Prussia could still very well end up being the reason I lose after all, especially if Barth can hold on to Warsaw for another 7 turns. The stat tracker shows my numbers continuing to slightly dwindle, but looking at my casualties another way, Barth has kept my loss rate dangerously high. I'm at around 7% losses going into, not after, turn 7. And I really need to lose no more than an average of less than 0.5% per turn to avoid being socked with a manpower penalty when invading westward later. Barth, however, has lost more than a third of his fighting power by the halfway point, with a lot more slated to fall soon. And those are troops I won't have to dig out from around Warsaw before the end, when it's now Barth's turn for doom. Doom, 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 doom. Amen, 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 amen.